Hello? Is this thing on? I think this is video cue. I have trouble telling on the Mac whether that screen recording is on or not. I think it is. Yeah, I see this button up here. Okay, in video cue, clearly we're going to do a demo, but this is a Mac demo, so I'm going to use the Sublime Text App SE Editor for C++ that's free and online, and I need to make a new file. This is going to have everything in it. This has got structures, arrays, and primarily functions. This is the first video demo that has any functions in it. File, I think we're up to example 5, or maybe beyond. Just to be, well, example 5, I think. I might have to change the name. Be careful about that. And I'm Ari and Glenn. This is TransCU. Sloppy typing. Sorry about that. I should have done this before starting the video, shouldn't I have? It's too late now. I don't want to restart. CS2124. Summer 2020. Sorry you had to suffer through that. And this is going to be everything burger. Arrays, structures, and functions. structures. Okay. Array structures and functions. That's too generic. I'm going to put another comment up here since I want to explain what the program's doing. Read and print info about a pack of dogs. Those of you experiencing deja vu, yeah, I think this is what I believe it's example 4, but I'm not certain. A recent example was illustrating structures and arrays, but it didn't use any functions. So this one's going to ramp it up a little bit. But you're going to like functions once you get used to them, and I'll show you why. Can't type and talk at the same time. Include. This is not editor editing. You know what? I need to save as file. Save as, and here, and save as ex05.cpp, example 5 in my summer 2020 directory, so that it still doesn't look good, does it? Using namespace std. What horrible colors. The comments are way light. Hang on just a second. Int main void. Get this out of the way. Return 0. There. An entire program done and done. But let me fix something up here. Somewhere it's got to have settings, preference, colors. It's color scheme. I need to fix that. I have no idea what these are. That's not bad. Let me try another one since there's so few. One moment, please. That's, well, I don't think I'm liking the black background, at least not for a demo. Color scheme. No, Celeste wasn't bad. You know what? I'll stick with something. At least that's legible. It's not very big, and it looked like font is something else I can set. You can do all this to suit your shelf. Shoot your shelf. Larger, please. Thank you. Okay. We'll say that's good enough, and I'll quit messing with that. Now then, file save. Have I saved it yet as example 5? I think so. Save. Now, believe it or not, I'm going to go ahead and open a terminal window. Here we are. And remember, on a Mac, you've got to do your compile and link step separately. So I need to cd to the directory that I'm using, which is CS2124. I believe it's summer 2020. And on the first try, ls will show me what's there. I've got the a.out from Hello Summer a long time ago. And the Hello Summer, that was the original demo. So all that stuff is still there. Now that I've got, and I press enter just to put a gap between the new stuff and the old stuff. So that was enter a bunch of times. Now I'm going to see if example 5 will compile and run. G++ ex05.cpp. And it's perfect. It runs, I think, /a.out to run it in a Mac. And it didn't do anything. What I was looking for is to see if I had any errors, missing semicolons or whatever already. Read and print info about a pack of dogs. Well, to be able to do that, I have to have my dog structure which I'm calling new data types because that's what they are. I might have more than one. I don't know where I'm going with this. S-T-R-U-C-T, dog, with a capital D. By convention, new data types, whether they're structures, and before I forget to put the semicolon, whether they're structures or other new things we can use to make data types, by convention, they start with a capital letter and they're a camel case beyond that. And the dog, I believe, had a name. Of course it did. Name and color, I believe. And an age, A-G-E. I'll line those up better. It looks like age is a different color. I'm not sure why that would be, but we'll go with it. I don't know. I don't understand how it's figuring out the colors, but I hope it doesn't cause any problems. And I'm going to set off the main program, which is more important now that we'll be using miniature programs, also known as functions. Not yet, though. I need to get me some doggies. Dog. And this is a strange thing, and no, I'm not even going to do that. I was going to say I'm going to use DOG with a lowercase, and that is something that you see fairly often. The data type with a capital letter, and then the variable name of that data type is exactly the same symbol, but with a lowercase letter. But I'm going to try to minimize rather than maximize confusion, so I'm going to call this the pack. And how many dogs are in the pack? Max pack. All in capital letters. Why? Because that's a symbolic constant. You say, oh, no, it isn't. And you would be right, ladies and gentlemen. Here's part of what I'm doing is not just demonstrating arrays and structures, whatever those things are, and functions. This is actually how I go about after I've done my planning. I'm planning this one in my head, so I'm cheating. But after I've done my planning, I go ahead and dive in as if all this stuff that I'm using, like I could have even done that with dogs, saying, you know what, I can set up a dog structure, I don't care. And max pack, I can do that. I can set up a symbolic constant. But what I'm not doing is typing in this program from line 1 to line 300 or whatever it may be. Constant max pack, I got to remember the names. Max pack equals 20. Anyone with a dog pack bigger than 20 is insane. So we'll say they don't do that. Now, watch what I'm doing here, and here's why I claim once you get used to functions, you're really going to like them. They are the procrastinator's dream. Watch this. Read a pack of dogs. How am I going to read a pack of dogs? I'm going to call read dogs. Ta-da! I'm going to write a function called read dogs that will read a pack of dogs. Where's it going to read them to? Well, I've only got one place. I've got an array of dog structures. I want to read them into that. So I got to pass that to the function. Pass my array. And when I pass anything, all I send in is the name of the variable. I don't put max pack over here or square brackets or anything. I'm passing in the entire array variable. So as a package deal, it's going to get the entire array of 20 dog structures passed to it. After I do that, I'm going to print them out. Print out the array of, or the pack, call it pack. Print out the pack. And how am I going to do that? Oh, guess what? Print dogs. And I got to pass in the pack. Done and done. No main program. Well, I've got to think about this a little bit. If read dogs is going to be generic, sometime I might want to read my pack, sometime I might want to read somebody else's pack or your pack. So any output that's telling me the general idea of what's going on here, I need to make that a separate thing before I even get down to that function. It wants to put my name in there. See? Endl, enter info about your pack dogs. And I'll put an indel just in case. Oops, after a less than. And there we go. Then it's going to read dogs a pack. And then the same thing with printing it out. Cout to ENDL. Here's what we know about we're talking about your pack of dogs. So there. The main program knows what's in the array represents your pack of dogs. The functions don't have any business knowing that. That's not their job. This read dogs, all it's got to do is read stuff into the pack array, and print dogs, it's got to print them back. Now then, come back up here. Well, actually, I'll go down here. Read dogs. Function time already. Functions. And I'll document as I go to be a good example to you. Read dogs. Read info about dogs into an array of dog structures. No capital on that, sorry. So here's how I need to set up my function. Right now it's not returning anything, so I guess it'll be void out front, read dogs. And here I do have to put more than just a variable name. I have to have the data type. The data type here is an array of dogs. And I'm going to call it DS, plural for Ds. Real short name because I don't want to be specific by calling it your pack or my pack or anything like that. I want to be able to read in any array of dog structures that anybody throws at me. Okay? Now, I need to, let's see. I'm going to be able to read up to 20 dogs. I think I made max pack 20. Yeah. So what I need now is just to read in all these dogs one at a time. And I don't know necessarily how many dogs there are going to be. So you know what? I'm going to count them. Int dog count until I read in any at all. That's 0. Now then, read into dog 0, then dog 1, then 2. You know what? That's a lot of trouble. I think I'm going to put that off. I'm going to shovel that off to somebody else. Read dog singular. I meant better. Sorry. Make an executive decision here and change this from read dogs to read all dogs, just to make it stand out better from a function called read dog, which I'm about to call here. Read dog, and the first time through I need to read dog count. Dog count will be 0, so I read dog count. That's not going to be enough. I mean, if I do successfully read it and read dog count, then I need to plus it. Plus is now a verb. Plus dog count. Now, that's only going to read one dog, and I don't know how many dogs there are going to be. So here's what I'm going to do. While read dog keeps reading a dog successfully over and over again, I want to keep going. As long as read dog, and I'm going to have that return a Boolean value, true or false, to say yes or no whether it successfully read a dog. While read dog, that's the French spelling. While read dog into dog count equals true, then I'm going to keep going and keep counting. And it closed the curly bracket too soon. Get you out of here. Delete, tab, backspace. So here's the overall scheme here. I set the counter to 0, and I need some blank lines just so I can point at these things. I set the counter to 0. I'm going to call another function that doesn't exist yet. Do you see what I mean by this procrastination thing? I know I can write a function that can read a dog structure, so I'm going to put that off. I'm going to go ahead and act like it exists. As long as read dog into the first time dog sub 0, if it successfully reads that, and I got to close the parenthesis here, not over here. As long as read dog, and I'm passing in a dog structure, as long as it reads it successfully and says, true, I read me a dog structure, then I need to increment dog count. So the dog count will go up to 1. The next time through, it tries to read dogs number 1. Next time through, dogs number 2, yada, yada, yada. Now, as a side effect of that, since I didn't know exactly how many dogs the user was going to enter, I'm going to need to communicate back to the main program how many dogs were successfully read. So here comes a return value. Return dog count. I need to tell the main program how many dogs were read, which means void was not a good choice for the return type. This has got to return an integer. int. Stop it. Into no. Okay. Now, here, the main program has got to tell me what dog structure it wants me to try to fill in. I mean, what array of dog structures to try to fill in. I'm going to start at dog number 0 and read in as many as I can. when all the dogs have been read and read dog finally returns false, it wasn't able to read a dog, then I'm going to return whatever dog count got up to. Standard use of a counter variable. In here, we're sending back what this is really sending back. I'll put that up here in the comments. Return how many dogs were read. That's exactly what we're doing. We're returning the count of dogs that were read before read dog returned false. You know what? While I'm down here, this is just all over the place, I know. But I'm going to go ahead and think about the read dog singular function. Read dog. What we're doing here, this is, again, peeling away slices of the onion. The main program is so lazy, it just didn't really want to do anything. There's hardly anything here. It did the prompt. Good for you. Look at you. You can do a prompt. It printed the prompt, and then it called read all dogs to do all of its work, to read in the dogs. And as soon as we got back, it turned around, and it's like taking credit for what was done down in the function. Here's all the info about your pack of dogs, and it calls another function to print them out that doesn't exist yet. So what have we got? It's going to try to read all the dogs from the function call, and it's going to do that by calling another function to read one dog at a time. Read all info about one dog. And I'm starting to get nervous. I'm starting to get nervous about this. This has got to return a bool value, and that's because this is expecting to get true or false as return. And I'll put that in my comments here. Return true or false to indicate success or failure. Here's what's making me nervous. I'm doing an awful lot of typing without testing any of it. I'll go ahead and type this one in, read dog, and it's passing in an array element, which is a single dog structure, D-O-G, and I am going to use variable D for that. But, wait, there's more. It needs to be able to change the value of this dog structure and make it stick. That means this has to be a reference parameter. It has to have the ampersand after it. That's the bottom line. When you pass something in by reference, any changes you make to that parameter variable in the function, those are still going to be changed when you get back to whoever called it. So this is going to pass in an array element that's a dog structure, tell this function to fill it in, this function will fill it in and make those changes stick. If I leave off the ampersand, I'll be doing all this work for nothing because they won't be in the array when I get back. Okay, all I'm going to do right now is return false. That's what I mean by I'm getting nervous. I promised I would return a Boolean value, but I don't want to have to think about all the logic of how to read a dog right now. This is called a stub function. I just write the bare minimum to get the function off the ground, just to make sure I don't have any horrible compiler errors that I'm going to have to go dig through later on. So this way I can check and see if it will compile, but I can tell you it's not going to compile. I'll pretend like I'm ready to compile, and I know it's not. G++, I can get up arrow to get to example 5. And it says, use of undeclared identifier, read all dogs a pack. So what I'm going to have to do, since that's undeclared, is make a prototype. So I'll highlight just the first line of the function, edit, copy, to make a prototype, which is a declaration, so that the function knows, so the main program knows there will be a function, just not right now. Hold your horses, don't get bent out of shape. There will be a function called, before I forget, Command V, called read all dogs, just not right here. Don't worry about it. Get rid of the open curly bracket, replace it with a semicolon, and bada boom, bada bing, you've got a function prototype. It's going to give me the same complaint about my singular read dog function, so I'm also going to copy that. What is copy? Is it Control-C? Control-C scares me. But I'll try and see if that works. Come back up here, enter, no! I'll just see if I can fix it. I don't know hotkey stuff. There, I confessed. This was a reference to a single dog structure, if I recall. That's why it's a good idea to try to copy and paste if you can remember how to do all that, because you're less likely to mess it up. Now this should match the first line of the function, except it's got a semicolon instead of an open curly bracket. Read dog, was that it? Read dog, reference to a dog structure. Now, let me see if I can save, file, save. and come back over here. Will you please compile? No. I can't even tell where it starts and stops. I meant to do that. Then what? Print dogs. I think I called that in the main program when there is no print dogs. Yes, I did. To print dogs, now all the print dogs needs is the array itself, so I don't have to return anything. This is like an output function rather than input. Oh my goodness gracious. Sorry about that. Int. I was just trying to make it, very innocently trying to make it so I could line these up. Print dogs. And the pack, I'm passing in the array. So it's got to be an array of dog structures. Dog, ds again, plural. And voila. Now let me see if it still complains. I bet it will. But I'll try it anyway. Now let's see. Previous declaration here is saying these don't match. What doesn't match? Here's the prototype. Read dog. Read dog is not returning an integer. It returns a Boolean value that says yes or no. Duh. Yes or no. Did you read a dog successfully? Not bobble, even though I did bobble. Let's look at that again. The logic down here is the reason it wants to be a Boolean value is because maybe I read a dog, maybe I don't. Where I'm looking ahead that I haven't typed in yet is I am going to have a sentinel. And if they're done typing in dog names, then all they got to do is type in the sentinel value. Let me see if I can compile this yet. Command S to save. Up arrow. Whoops. Let me just get some space. Up arrow. No. Print dogs. Oh, the linker. The linker saying, you don't have a print dog function. And they're right. So I'm going to make a stub a function, which just means it's a placeholder that will let me go ahead and compile, edit, copy, take down here in the bottom and paste. I'm going to make a function out of it. Command V does a paste. I'll even put comments like it's a real function. And this, it scrolled off the bottom. I don't remember the name. Print dogs. And what does this do? Print all of the dogs in an array of dog structures. So that's not a function, that's a prototype with a semicolon. So there, now it's a function, and I don't even have to say return false or anything. This one had to say return false because this bool is a promise to the compiler. This function is going to send a value back that's of type true or false, type Boolean. This one void, it's not returning anything, so this is enough. This should make the compiler and the linker happy when I command S. It's just not going to do everything it's supposed to do yet. Ta-da! A dot out. Enter info about your pack of dogs. Here's what we know about your pack of dogs. Well, there's not very much on either one, is there? So let's go back and see where we are in the main program. Read all dogs. But now look at this for a second. Read all dogs. It had to keep up with how many dogs there were because it's not necessarily, probably unlikely the case that the user's going to want to type in 20 dog informations if there are only like 3 dogs in the pack. So we keep up with how many times read dog is successfully called and returns true or false. Maybe I should, yeah, I'll go ahead and get the tiny bit of logic out of the way here. Forget about read dog for the moment. Read dog, let's pretend that it already exists, successfully reads a dog into the next slot in the array and counts it. Then when it's done, it's returning dog count. Somebody needs to pay attention to that. And that, by somebody, I mean the main program. Pack size needs to hang on to that return value because that is telling the main program how many of the pack array elements got filled in by read all dogs. That's got to be an integer variable. Pack size. And I don't even need to initialize it to 0 because the first time I even use it is when I'm assigning it to be the return value of read all dogs. I don't even remember what problem I was addressing. Oh, there's no errors. It just wasn't doing anything. So now it's going to keep up with how many dogs were filled in, and this has to officially fill it in. No more procrastinating on this. I'm going to set up a little lobby variable, a temporary variable, string temp name. Because, and that's where I'm going to read something into. What am I going to do? I'm going to prompt for a name of the dog. This is, by the way, I'm focusing just on reading one dog structure. I don't even know if I'm in an array or not. I don't care. This is the one that knows that we're filling in an array. This function is more specific and more focused, and this one is only going to try to read in info for one dog structure. It might need to go to inline. I don't know, but I'll try that and see. We're going to ask for a name. And we're going to read not into the dog structure. I'm going to read into temp name. Why? Because they might have typed the sentinel value. And if they did, that means they don't want to type in all the info about a dog. They're done. Stick a fork in them. So if the name they just typed in, temp name, if that's equal to the dog name sentinel, then let's get the heck out of Dodge. Return false. In other words, they did not enter. This is how they could possibly fail. They typed in the sentinel. They don't want to type any more dogs. So we're gone. Now, let me get the rest of this done. If we're still here, it means they did not type in the sentinel. They typed in Rover or something like that. And we want to copy the temp name into the name of that dog structure, the name field of the dog structure. So d.name, that's just going into the dog structure, d.name equals temp name. And since we're only testing for a sentinel with the name, we can read the rest of this directly into the structure itself. And after the name, I forgot what we want, the color maybe, space, semicolon, we can read directly into the color field of the dog structure. Read into CIN. This is supposed to be C out. You're supposed to keep an eye on me. There. Now, CN into D.color. And same thing with the age. We're not testing for validity for the age of the color. We assume if it's a legit dog name, then we're going to get a legit color and a legit age. And read into D.age. Now, here's what I put on hold, and I'm coming back to now. You might well say, why don't we put this in an else? If temp name is not the temp dog sentinel and it's something else, then why don't we put all this in an else? This is kind of a legacy way to approach a problem that old compilers couldn't handle. It used to be if you put all of this remaining stuff in an else, and this needs to be returned true, not false. We did successfully read a dog structure. Sorry about that. If we put all this in an else, some compilers will say, not all control paths return a value. In other words, it thinks it's possible to skip the return statement because one of the return statements is in the if part, one of the return statements is in the else part. Oh, you silly compiler. If it's in an if-else, there's no way to skip both of those, but some compilers were not smart enough to realize that. So this is what's called an implicit else. The only way all of this stuff will get executed right here is if we did not get a true value up here and immediately leave the function, immediately return false. Because as soon as we hit a return statement, we are out of here. Zip! We went back to the main program. We are not here to stick around and execute anymore. So this implicit else is only going to be executed if they typed in something other than the sentinel. I'm repeating myself. Sorry about that. And I'll save and compile. Command S and see if this will compile. Whoops. That's the old version. I got to recompile before I rerun. And before I do that, I'm going to get some blank lines. Feeble old fart. Come on, get it right. There we go. Undeclared identifier dog names. Oh, okay. Yeah, I meant to do that. Not really. But see, once you get in the groove and you just start thinking about this one specific function that I'm working on because I'm dividing and conquering, you go ahead and use stuff as if it exists, even though it doesn't. So that's going to need to be a symbolic constant, and it needs to be a string. Oops. It needs to be a const string. Const string. Whatever I call it, dog name sentinel. Yes, it's trying to help me. Thank you. Sublime text. You are sublime. And I'm going to make it just a lowercase x because that's probably not any dog's name and it's easy to type. Now then, back to the terminal drawing board. Up arrow. Dog name sentinel. Temp name. Identifier dog name sentinel. Sentinel. Did I not save it? Let me see. Dog named Sentinel. Dog named Sentinel. Sentinel. Command S. Whoops. I know, not right now. Thank you, though. Thank you for asking. Oh, I guess I forgot to save it. Silly me. Yeah, you got to do the mother may. You got to save it before you try to compile it again. It's going to compile the old version. Because remember, this, all these colorful candy stuff, that is in memory. And until I Command S or until I go to File Save, it's not out on the hard drive yet. Now that I've got it to compile, I don't even remember what it's supposed to be able to do yet. Enter info about your pack of dogs. Bozo. Well, it looks like it's reading the dog stuff. Bozo is dotted because that's a clown dog. And age, ooh, Bozo's probably 79 by now. I don't know. And let me see if my Sentinel works. There. Here's what we know about your pack of dogs. Well, it doesn't look like it's very much. But what I'm doing is developing this incrementally and just trying to make sure at least I cleared my functions of compiler errors. Print dogs, looks like that's got to be the next order of business because it doesn't do anything yet. Print dogs, print out the dog stuff. That doesn't sound good, does it? For, he's a jolly good fellow. Int I equals 0. I is less than. Well, let's think about this. I is less than max pack? I think not. There are not 20 dogs filled in. I'm certainly not going to sit here and fill in 20 dogs. Where can we get how many there are? Dog count. I is less than dog count. See, it's trying to help me fill that in. Bless its heart. Plus I. And we'll just print out each dog. Call it a function that doesn't exist. Print was print dogs the name of it, or was it print all dogs? Print dogs. Print dogs. Print dogs. Okay. So I'm going to have it singular. Print dog. Procrastinating again and print out just ds square bracket I. So it'll go through one at a time and print out all the information, assuming that a print dog function exists, and it does not. So it's going to complain about that. I'm going to see if I can shut it up before it even complains. Print dog. Print all info about one dog. There. And I'm going to make that a stub function because I don't want to do that yet. I just want to see if I can get my print dogs function to compile. That's the newest player in the game. Print dog singular. And I don't pass this in by reference because I don't want to change it. No ampersand here. All I want to do is take a look at what's already in there. I don't want to put new stuff in there. So this, since it's a void function, that's sufficient for a stub function. That function now exists even though it doesn't do anything. I bet I don't have a prototype for it. I bet I can copy it correctly this time. Come back down here and copy that line. And I think it's Command C. We'll see if it is or not. Command C, and then it should be Command V. Cross your fingers. Thank you. Print dog. Now, I don't even know where I am because I have no short-term memory. So, Command S. Let me see what I did. I might have broke it. Bozo. Red. 2 or 1. Whatever. X. Okay. So far, it's looking okay. It's just not printing out anything. Print all dogs. Well, print dog has to print something out if I'm going to see it. And I'll tab over to make them look nice. See out. You know what? I'll put this all in one line. I'll start with a tab over. And nothing else in that string. I'm going to start with the name. D.name. Dog name is a... I'm making this up as I go along. Is a... Get the color out there. No, I'll get the age. No? I'll do the color. D.color. D name is a color. And put a space. This message might look horrible. Bozo is a red 12-year-old dog. So the age is next. d.age. Yeah, and I could change this to something later. This is probably not going to look good. Year-old dog, finally, mercifully, period. And Endel, it's warning me that I'm about to go past the buffer line. So I'll break that up into 2 lines. There. Then an Endel. Now then. What could be simpler? So I'll Command S that. That's also a verb now. Let's see if I can compile. Undeclared use of dog count. Well, now hang on a second here. Dog count, that's hard to misspell. D-O-G-C-O-U-N-T, here it is. Here's the deal. Here's the heartbreaking, unfortunate deal. Dog count up here, it didn't complain about that one. It's complaining about it down there where I'm trying to print it. Dog count is a local variable. It does not exist until read all dogs is called. When read all dogs is called, any local variables I have inside the comforting curly brackets of the function, any variables that's defined in there, magically springs to life when the function called. That's the happy news. The bad news is it magically disappears when I hit the closing curly bracket. So this return statement is sending dog count back to the main program. That's just in the nick of time. Before that variable vanishes off the face of the CPU. It's just gone. So there is no dog count. Oh no, woe is us. What are we to do? Well, it turns out almost every time you pass in an array to a function, you also have to pass in how many things have been filled in. Otherwise, you have no choice but to use the symbolic constant and print a bunch of garbage in the array that you didn't fill in. So size is kind of the standard. I'm not going to use pack size. Size is just the standard generic name for how many things in this array are filled in starting with slot 0. So instead of I is less than dog count, I need to go I is less than size, which means the print dogs prototype is wrong because I need 2 parameters instead of 1. The print dogs call in the main program is wrong. See if I can remember how to fix all those. That's not just an array of dogs, it's now an array of dogs and the size. Okay, and when I call the function, I need to tell it not only which array of dogs I run it to print out, right down here. I need to print out the pack, and I don't pass in a hard-coded number. I don't pass in max pack. I print out how many are actually filled in, which read all dogs graciously told me way back when I called that pack size. That's how many got filled in. So here we go. Let me double check these match. Print dogs wants an array and how many are filled in. I'm passing in the array and how many are filled in based on the previous call to read dog. Print dogs, the array and how many are filled in. And you're thinking, well, where's the size on this one down here? That was my first thought when I zoomed back down here. Print dogs knows it's working with an array of dogs, and its job, it's very focused. One job is to print out everything in the array of dogs, but it's passing the buck. It's making print dog do most of the heavy lifting by calling print dog on each one of the array elements in the dog array individually. So print dog, by the time we peel away all the layers of the onion down to here, we have one and only one dog structure, and all we got to do is print out the one message for that. This might seem, until you get used to it, this seems like a lot of trouble splitting all this up into functions when I could have just had one ginormous main program like we had in, I think it was example 4. But this is divide and conquer. We're splitting this up so that we only have to focus on one little piece of the logic at a time. And also, there are advantages that remain to be seen when we decide, you know what, I can reuse that function and call it and read somebody else's pack, and my pack, and your pack, and the whole pack of Lexington, whatever. Let me get off of that. Okay, Command S, and will you compile? Yes, you compile, yay! A.out, A.hour. A.out. I'm not going to push my luck. I'm just going to do a couple. Bob's color is red. Easy to spell. And 2x. Here's what we know about your pack of dogs. Bob's is a red 2-year-old dog. Well, it appears that we're in business. I'm not making any promises, but cosmetic detail here. Here's what we know. That needs that needs 2 in lines after it. That's just ugly. It's okay to fix ugly stuff. You want your output and your code and everything to look as professional as you know how to do. Not there. Can't talk and type. and maybe also at the grand finale. One moment, please. This is all cosmetic touch up here. So after I print out all the dogs, I'll do another inline. See ya, Endo. Now then, Command S, and, pardon me, and got to do the Mother May compile again. Didn't break it, yay. Bozo, red, and 10. I'm going to press my luck and say that this is now working. So here we go. Michael is black, and he's about 8, I think. I'm not sure. Michael Solomon is brown. He's about 14, I believe. Michael Solomon Leo is black and brown. All one word. CN can only handle one token at a time. One whole number, one whole word, whatever. No spaces in it. Black and brown, and Leo is about 12. And Darby, my only girl, she's a blonde. And she's 17, bless her heart, almost blind. And then Trout. I got them in the wrong order, but that's okay. Trout's 10. And he's, I think, about 7. And that's everybody. Here's what we know about your pack of dogs. And I printed out everything we know about every dog. Ta-da! Well, you know what? I'm going to press my luck. This is already a ridiculously long video, so I'm going to make it even longer. It's hard to see the utility of functions if you don't use it more than once. So here's what I'm going to do. Tell you what I'm going to do. Like I did in example 4, I think it was, I picked out just the old ones. So I'm going to say print out just the old ones, the old pack members. And I'm going to copy and paste this. I think I am if I know how. Edit, copy, I could do that. Edit, paste. Old school. There. There, whippersnappers. Hope you're happy with that. Here's what we know about your old dogs. Bless their hearts. Now, that's kind of long in the tooth and ran off the side. I can do a break wherever I do a space or an operator or whatever. I can't do a break inside the string. Not without a lot of pain and suffering. So I'm going to split up the C out there so it all fits here. So that's still all one line. I just made it so it didn't go past this buffer line over here. Now, you might make the observation, well, that's not printing out anything different. It's exactly the same. So you would be right. So I'm going to pass in old dog age. There. An additional parameter to print dogs. There's a problem with that. Print dogs is not expecting to get an additional parameter. So I'm going to actually have to change this function if I want to do it like that. Print all dogs in the array. Dog structures. Watch what I'm doing. I even changed the comments. Of a certain age and older. So I've got a third parameter coming in here. Int min age. They've got to be at least min age or I'm not going to print them out. So as I'm looping through all the dogs, I've got to put an extra step in here. I'm only going to print them out if, who is it? ds square bracket I dot age is greater than or equal to min age. See what's going on here? This is a filter, by the way. I am filtering the dogs. I'm not going to print every single dog. I can't do the cut and paste. I'll just do it old school way. Print dog. And I'm printing out ds square bracket I. I'm still printing out exactly the same dog as I printed out before, but I'm printing it out conditionally. I only print it out if they are of a certain age. And you know what? I'm going to save this just to generate errors on purpose that I hope I know how to fix. Let's see. Yeah, whoops. Old dog age. Well, there's one of the errors. If you're a dog, you're old if you are 10 or older. So I'm going to const int old dog age. Old professor age means you can't remember anything for 3 seconds. Old dig. Oh, it's trying to help me. I'll let you help me. Equals 10. You know what? I'm going to do this too. I'm going to say max pack equals 10. 2 symbolic constants with the same value. You know what? I should probably just have one symbolic constant. Max pack or old age and call it 10. Roll your eyes, shake your head. You know better than that. Maybe max pack will change independently of old dog age, and I don't want both of those to change every time one of them has to. See, I told you knew better. Command S, compile. Roops, I made it even worse. Consi. Yeah, I probably didn't mean Consi. Cozy, or maybe that's Consi. Consi. Cozy. Const. Fixed it. I only fix one error at a time. I've told some people that in Zoom sessions. Command S. If I see one error at the top, I fix it because the other errors will often be what I call domino errors. They are errors because of the first error. And when you fix the first one, no matching call function for call to print dogs. Here's the prototype. Look, that's what it's using their prototype for. Up here, way on line 2. I think that's line 2. It's telling me this is the prototype, and I know that because it's got a semicolon. Candidate functions not viable. Requires 2 arguments, but 3 were provided. Void print dogs. It's complaining about the prototype where I called the function with too many parameters. Print dogs. Now I also need the minimum age. Int min age. Command S. Fix that. Up arrow. Fix again. No. Still. Oh, the print dogs call. Yeah, I think that's the original one, isn't it? Ah, yes. Print dogs. Well, if I want to see all of them, nobody is going to be in the hole. I don't even know what that would mean. So I'm just going to pass in constant value 0. As long as it has an integer value, I can send it to print dogs as the third parameter. I can even send 5 minus 5 if I want to. I'm going to type that just for silliness. 5 minus 5, that's 0. I could do that and it would evaluate that expression and send the 0 down to the function, but that's just foolishness, like I said. So I'm going to make that 0. So if I want to see all the dogs, I just say the minimum age is 0. If I just want to see the old ones, then I pass in the old dog age. Sounds like a good plan, doesn't it? Let's see. Oh! Cross your fingers for me. Cross your fingers again. That time it didn't work. A dot out. Pack of dogs. Okay. Michael is black. And Michael's about 8, I think. Michael Solomon. Solomon is brown. And he's about 14 is our best guess. Michael Solomon Leo. Leo's black and brown. He's about 12. Michael Solomon Leo Trout. He's tan. And he's around 7. And Darby. Blonde. She's 17. X. I think it's X. You know what? Look at this. Bad professor. I can't even scroll up. I won't even try. Well, here I did. I just scrolled up. Enter info about your pack of dogs. This gives no clue how to quit. Somebody's got to tell me how do I stop this crazy thing. I stop it by typing X, and look, it does what I want it to do. Here's what we know about your pack of dogs. Here's the whole pack. Here's what we know about your old dogs, bless their hearts. Here's all the ones that are at least 10 years old. And all the blank lines and everything, all that's missing, I think, in the longest video known to man, is somewhere I need to print out the Sentinel. Where would be a good place? Well, read dog would be a good place. You know what? Name and tell them about it. Well, yeah, because that's where I'm testing. Name, stop the string and print out the Sentinel. Dog, name Sentinel, thank you. And continue string to quit. Then a square bracket, then a colon, then a space. You have to construct these prompts in your mind when you weave in variables or symbolic constants like that. And here's what it should print. Goes to the next line, prints out the word name, and then parenthetically almost, in square brackets, it prints out the dog Sentinel name, and then says to quit and a colon and a space. And it should have a nice blinking cursor there at the end, if I haven't mistyped anything. So let's run that through again. One more time. I'm not going to type in all the dogs. Don't worry. Up arrow, that was bad. That's good. That worked. A dot out. Name. Oh, and look, it is telling me lowercase x to quit. And it looks like, see how simple and smooth and streamlined that looks? And here is the monstrosity that's actually producing that line of output. Name, open square bracket, and then it uses whatever the dog sent. Oh, maybe you do have a dog named X. Maybe you got some goth friends and they gave you their dog and its name is X. So you might have to go back and change dog sentinel. This is a self-adjusting prompt that will change to whatever the current dog sentinel name is, name sentinel, and build that into the prompt down here. Let's do Rover. Good old Rover is black and white. And 13. And Hickory. And Hickory is black and brown. And maybe Hickory 7, who knows. And I don't have any creativity. Fido. Fido is red. And 10 exactly. X to quit. Okay, so here we go. Here's the whole pack of dogs. Here's all the dogs that are 10 or older. And that's a lot. That's a bunch of functions. Look over this source code and see if I made any typos or whatever that we can discuss. This will be example 5, and this is stuff that you will really, really want to know for program 2. And I'm going to close all this stuff up, but to stop doing any more damage with this video, I'm just going to say I'll see you online.